Hey everyone and welcome. This is Steve Hess, Director of User Experience at OpenBOM. I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. I'm going to give just a minute or two for see if you folks are still joining.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, welcome. This is Steve Hess, Director of User Experience. Hey everybody, sorry about the echo there. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome you to part 4 in the series on Solidworks BOMs and using OpenBOM to manage bills of material in Solidworks. So this is the last in our series of webinars on this topic. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and hit me up in the chat area there. And I'm just going to ask if anyone can hear me. So go ahead and just let me know that you guys are getting some audio. I had a little technical problem in the last webinar, and people weren't seeing or hearing me all the time. So if anyone could chime in, that would be great. Okay. All right, let's get started. I'm just going to dispense with a few basics here. I want to remind everybody that we'll be handing out the deck and sharing the deck so that you'll have this afterwards, along with the recording of this video. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these kind of introductory things here. Again, there's 4 episodes in the SolidWorks series. And they are, as you see here, we started with, how to create BOMs and update BOMs and manage properties, part classifications, configurations. That was a big one in the last webinar. And today we're going to be covering SolidWorks maintenance. In other words, how to update a bill of material. So today in particular, we're going to just do a quick review of what the BOM command does. We're going to go through a live use case of a colleague asked us to incorporate a change. We're going to put a longer antenna on the popular wireless router, and then we're going to create a Rev2 in the BOM, and we're going to see how we do that. We're also at the end, we're also going to make some purchase orders and kind of wrap this thing up. So, okay, here's some definitions. Again, we visited all of this information before, so you can read through this if you like. I'll use the word catalogs and items sort of interchangeably. An item is a part or assembly that's listed in the catalog. So if you're new, if this happens to be your first webinar, if you're just joining us today, I see a few new names. I see some familiar ones. If you're just joining us, there's a lot of great information on our help page, and I'll have a link to that at the end. Okay, just some basics. Again, I'm not going to read through all this. There's a link to a YouTube video on the first 3 minutes of using OpenBOM with SolidWorks. BOMs are made of assemblies. You do require either a professional license or a trial. You can get that at openbom.com. We'd like you to have SolidWorks 2016 or later, although I see customers running it with earlier versions. We make integrations for PDM and the Windows File Explorer, although we're not going to cover that, or Excel, or folders, or other things. And now there's separate webinars, there's separate videos and stuff on those topics. So you can look those up. So it's going to be 4 lessons in today's video. I'm going to be very conscious of time. I'd like to wrap this up to 30 minutes or less. Lesson 1 is going to be a quick review. Lesson 2, we're going to actually work in SolidWorks, kind of bring in a changed model that one of our colleagues sent us. We're going to update that in OpenBOM, and then we're going to update we're going to create a second order, and we're going to knock out some POs and get some parts ordered. So let's go through that process. So I'd really like to jump right into it. We're at the 4-minute mark, so I'd like to get started on the first lesson. So I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. If you've got some questions, please go ahead and type them in. So, okay, let me jump out of this and jump into SolidWorks. Okay, so what we will be doing here is just taking a quick review of what the SolidWorks integration, what the OpenBOM for SolidWorks integration does. And again, I covered this in other videos, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. But what we have installed is we've installed the OpenBOM integration right here. we've gone into the settings and we've signed in, given our credentials. There's lots of other options that are covered in other videos. I'm not going to cover those here. Okay, so let's just take a look at bills of material that we built over the last 3 webinars for this wireless router. We can use the locate button, or we can jump over to OpenBOM. I already have this open now for our convenience. And let's take a look at the top level BOMs, and let's take a look at the wireless router. So what we built over the last couple of webinars was a BOM, a multi-level BOM, and you can see that this is expandable. We picked up all the product structure from Solidworks, and we brought in all the properties and types and all that sort of thing, quantities and all of that built that part, built that assembly in Solidworks, that product. We're building the wireless router. And then also using the Solidworks integration, we created a catalog, which is actually created automatically for us, but we added some additional properties to that catalog, things like cost, quantity on hand, and some other things that we might use to kind of manage this product in our manufacturing, maybe bin location where it gets stored, and some links to PDFs and the drawings and some other things that'll make our BOM much more useful. We used our BOM to create an order BOM. In other words, we got an order for a couple of these. In this case, 5 units. We built a proto order for the first 5 units. OpenBOM did the math, calculated quantity on hand, quantity required, quantity gaps, etc. And we used that. We tapped the create update purchase orders. We built a list of purchase orders, which I'll show you here, just with a single button press. And we'll take a closer look at the one for Grainger. I should have pointed out that in our items list, we assigned vendors to all of these. So these are all the parts for the purchase order we would send to Grainger. And then we just exported that as a PDF, and we got a PO that we could send to Grainger. Keep in mind that in the process of generating those POs, we generated a PO for every supplier or vendor that's listed in our BOM. So that's how we did that. We finished that process. We released the order BOM. We created a revision of our top level BOM called Proto Release, and the parts came in and they got made. Okay, so that's sort of the history, up to this point. So we generated those BOMs initially, for those of you that are new, using the OpenBOM command. All right, so several weeks have gone by, and I get an email from a colleague, and we're going to kind of use a use case here. I get an email from a colleague that says, hey, you know what, our customer wants this antenna to be 2 inches longer. So the colleague does what colleagues do. They email me the part file that's 2 inches longer. Now, we could have put it in Dropbox or done something more sophisticated, but we all know that quite often it just comes in an email. So I copied out of my email. I put it on my drive. I come back and I open the SolidWorks model here again, and I say to myself, well, okay, what do I need to do to update this thing? So I I drill down here, and I find my aerial assembly, which is that guy. I'm going to open that up. And what my colleague has sent me is an updated version of this. This is the webinar 26 version, and that's from last week. And I need to replace that with the webinar 27 version. I'm going to use the replace component command right inside SolidWorks. And let's say, okay, let's go look for that guy. And here it is. All right. So SolidWorks has made it pretty easy for me to update that in my model. Now I know that I'm buying this aerial as a single item, and I've actually indicated in SolidWorks. I've told SolidWorks using a setting here that I'm going to buy this thing as a single line item in my BOM. So what's important to me right now is that I get this new part in here, and that I update this assembly with that information. So I've got the W27 in there, and I'm going to jump up here to the properties right now for my aerial, and I'm going to say, okay, look, I think I'm going to update this thing to revision 2. Okay, and I'm sitting here. I've got the aerial 26 open. I need to update. My bill of materials with this. I'm going to use the save item command. Save item is going to go find the existing one that is in OpenBOM. I'm going to update it, and I'm going to send a new image to it. New sublevel information. I'm going to go take a look at it in my SolidWorks items catalog. Reload that here. And I'm going to see that, boom. You see we had no revisions in our earlier releases. I've now got the 2010-10 part is now revision 2. That's exactly what I wanted. So I made the change in SolidWorks. I used save items. I sent the updated item over to OpenBOM. Now I want to update the BOM. Well, that's really easy to do. I'm gonna save that guy in SolidWorks. And I'm gonna close that. Okay, so that kind of takes us to the end of lesson 2. I do want to take a moment here and pause and say, what I'm doing here is I'm practicing form, fit, and function, in my design. So in other words, what I'm saying is the 2010-10 just got a change. It's going to revision 2. It's going to be a little bit longer, but it's functionally interchangeable with the non-revision one, with the original one. So in other words, a part number change is not required. Okay, but I know that there's a change down in the sub-level parts, but a part number change is not required because it is still functionally interchangeable with the revision 1 or the non-revision version. So I did a webinar earlier in the year on form, fit, and function. I'll try to provide a link to it. There's a link to our webinar list at the back of this deck. If you're familiar with form, fit, and function, you know exactly what I'm doing. If you're not, it's something to start thinking about whether or not a change requires a part number change. But for now, our change doesn't require a part number change. We just updated the lower level part. We rolled the revision. All good so far. We're back now. We closed and saved that sub-level assembly. We're back at our assembly in SolidWorks. Okay. I'm going to move on to lesson number 3, which is revving up the BOM. So let's just go ahead and use the BOM command. OpenBOM tells us what's going to happen. We're going to send any new changes, updated changes to our SolidWorks items, which is where OpenBOM stores all the information about your SolidWorks items. Unless you know exactly what you're doing, there really isn't any reason to change that. And we're going to update the wireless router W26. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Close these from our earlier. Okay. So now we're looking at the BOM that we just updated today. Let's take a dive down into our PCB, and there we go. We see now that our 20-10 is our revision 2, precisely what we wanted. So what OpenBOM has done is it's merged that change. Keep in mind, this is the same bill of material that we had before. No other changes were found, so no other changes were made. We merged that single property change and thumbnail into our existing BOM. It's exactly what we wanted. Hang on just a second, let me check, see if I think there's a question here. Okay, so the question is, what if we change the part number? Let me get to that I'll leave a few minutes to get that back in. Okay. Great. Here we go. The customer, we updated with the longer antenna. We're gonna place another order here on this time around. You know, the customer wanted 11 of those. This is our next gen customer. And I'm just creating an order now for 11 pieces. Let's take a look at what that looks like. You see that we've got in our planning BOM, our order BOM, we now have the Rev 2 of the antenna, and we've picked up all the vendors that we have previously assigned for all of these, and we did some additional math. You see that we've got a couple of quantity gaps now. In other words, that means we've got, you know, we need 20 of these. We need 22 of these. We have 20 on hand. I've got a quantity gap of 2. So it tells me how many of these things I need to order. This is a really, there's another webinar on this topic. This is a really powerful feature of OpenBOM. And finally, I'm just going to send out, create another set of purchase orders. We generate the purchase orders that with the new quantities. And finally, let's take a look at one of these. We now see that our PO that would go back out to Granger would, sorry, this one's for Spacely Sprockets. Our PO out to Spacely Sprockets contains the 2010-10 here, now at revision 2. So we could, of course, send this to QuickBooks. We could do like just what we did before. We can just send this out quickly to a PDF. I know I've got a lot more information than I need here, but for the purposes of demonstration, so we've now updated this PO to Spacely Sprockets, which has the Rev 2 right here of that antenna aerial. So we've gone through the whole process. You know, we like that. We can come back to our BOM. The order BOM will release that to production, which will update our quantity on hand. I'm going to say, let's go ahead and release that guy to production. We get a notice and we're going to update quantity on hand. We do that. We see our quantity on hands have all dropped for those particular items. We return to our bill of material. We say sit in at the top level in single level. I'm going to say, look, I'm going to make a new revision of this, and this is going to be the Rev 2, and this is, you know, for our next gen. For our next gen order, and bam, and now I have a couple of revisions in place. I've got the original proto release, which I can go take a look at and drill down, and I'll see that it has the non-revised version of the aerial. I can jump over to my Rev 2 of this and drill down and see that we'll have the Rev 2 of the aerial. So with that, I want to take a moment. I know I went through that, you know, awfully quick, but I do want to take a moment for a couple of questions. And there's a question here that I want to get back to on what if we had changed the part number of that antenna. So what does that mean? Well, let's start back here at Solidworks. So the part number of that antenna changed. Let's go back and visit it again. Go back and open up our aerial. And let's look at the properties for this aerial. So right now, the part number for this aerial, we didn't change it because we said, look, these things are interchangeable, and this is the way that we manage our company using form, fit, and function. So let's just try this, kind of doing this live. I'm going to update the part number here to -L for long. All right, so I now have a new part number. The -L doesn't even exist in OpenBOM. It's got the right bits and pieces that I need. It's got the long aerial cover that my colleague emailed me earlier today. I don't want to roll the rev. So I went to properties, I changed the rev. I'm going to say, oh, cancel that. I'm going to say save item. And now we don't find it. So how the save item dialog works is if we find the existing part number somewhere, we're going to show that to you up here. we don't find it anywhere, we're gonna say, hey, look, looks like you're adding a new part. What do you want to do with it? I'm gonna say, look, I'm gonna put it in my SolidWorks items where I put all my stuff. So I'm adding a 2010-10-L to SolidWorks items. Okay, so let's do that. OpenBOM picks up all the information, gives me a message that SolidWorks items is updated. Let's go take a look at it. All right. So I see now that I have a 2010-10L in my OpenBOM or my SolidWorks items. It's my OpenBOM catalog. It's good. It's got the right revision. All good. But I still don't have that in my bill of materials. I've just used this button right here to update my my items. So what's the next step that has to happen? If we take, if we took a look at our old, at my BOM, I'm going to see that I've still got a 2010-10. All right, so I'm back to SolidWorks. I updated the part number here. I'm going to save that in SolidWorks. I'm going to get back to the top. We always build BOMs from the top level down using the BOM command. So I'm going to sit here. I see I've got my new, of course, long antenna here, and I'm just going to go back and update the BOM. So what's going to happen? We're going to save any changes that are need be to SolidWorks items, although we've already updated that. We're going to update the wireless router. Sounds like what I want to do. And let's open up the new updated BOM. And I'm going to drill down here, and I see that my aerial is now, my BOM is now using the long aerial. So that's it, precisely what I wanted. In this case, I updated the part number in SolidWorks. I pushed it down using save item. I went back and updated the top level BOM, which caused OpenBOM to pick up the new part number. If this had a different price, let's say the short one was $1 and the long one was $2, I could have a different price different cost coming in from my catalog. And so my BOM is now updated. If I need to make POs or something with this new part number, I'll follow the same process. I'll create an order BOM. Now maybe in this case, I just got an order for, I'm starting to pick up some customers here. I just got an order for 25 of these. I'm going to create my order BOM for 25. In my order BOM, I'll see that new part number, the dash L. Here's the dash L. That'll tell me I don't have any unknown for that. I need to order 25 of them. It's coming from Spacely Sprockets. Once again, I click the update POs and I'm gonna go visit the Spacely Sprocket PO. Look for that part. It's got the dash L, and I can send this to QuickBooks or NetSuite or shoot it out as a PDF like we did before. It'll have the dash L. So that, I think, takes us through really two use cases, which is, changing a piece of metadata. Just kind of, let me close the loop on that. There it is. There's the dash L. So let me jump back to our presentation here. And kind of wrap this up a little bit. So there's what we did for our first couple of lessons. There's our next one. While you read some do's and don'ts, I want to kind of recap a little bit on what we did. We really went through two use cases where we changed a piece of metadata. We changed a revision of an existing part. We brought that revision down. That was a use case where we're using form, fit, and function, and both the revision 1 and 2 were interchangeable. We also went through the use case where using form, fit, and function, the two parts were not interchangeable, so we gave it a new part number. we push that part number down through the part. You just save item, went back to the top level, updated our BOM, got the part with got the new part number. So, and then we kind of went through the, order BOMs and POs, just kind of show how we kind of wrap that up. So I just, I want to hit a couple of do's and don'ts here. I'm not going to read this to you, but there's a couple of top level things I really want you to always think about. For one, I really want you to avoid using, door.slprt in door.sldasm. If you're using the Solidworks feature that says get part number from file name, you're going to end up with two part numbers called door. So I don't like that. We did a webinar last week on configurations. Maybe visit that, we'll give you some better alternatives to that. Use part number as a property. If you're using configurations, be really kind of careful how you do that. Use the BOM command, not the catalog command. We're going to deprecate catalog, I think. You want to use save item and BOM to update OpenBOM. By the way, I showed you a one feature of OpenBOM that will be released tomorrow. So that was automatically updating from the top. So if you have any trouble with that, be aware that that fix will be out tomorrow, probably by the time you all see this video, that'll be out. And watch for duplicate BOMs if you're using, if you find yourself with any duplicate part numbers. So again, just a place for some references, first 3 minutes. The list of webinars is right here. I really encourage you to go check that out. Go check out help.openbom.com. It's a great place to start. It has a lot more videos. And please send your comments and whatnot to support@openbom.com. Suggestions for upcoming webinars are very well received. So I want to thank everyone for joining, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.